Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead The Ones Who Live video. So I wanted to talk about episode 5, and I wanted to break down, the episode 5 teaser images. I actually wanted to focus on another teaser that was released. It was before the show actually aired, in which we do see a lot of footage of Jadis that we haven't seen yet. And if you actually look at what is happening around Jadis, like the scenery and whatnot, it looks like Jadis for sure is going to be in episode 5, but it actually looks like we could maybe even get Jadis' death here in this episode. So I do want to talk about that because I do wonder if that's where they're going, because again, I looked at the episode 5 teaser and I do want to combine some of that stuff in here because I do think, what Michonne says is very, very, it makes a lot of sense here, but I do want to talk about some of the scenes that we got in previous teaser trailers that really did sort of hint at Jadis' death. And there's this shot right here that I'm like, it honestly looks like this could be her death scene right here. Like just the way that the shot's being set up here based off of what Michonne says as well, it honestly kind of seems like, Jadis could be dying here, and I'm wondering personally if it's going to be by a walker. But anyways, let's talk about this. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. There's going to be a lot to talk about throughout the next week. I might post a video out later on today. I'm not entirely sure. There's a lot that I do want to talk about, but there's also some stuff I got to do around the house in terms of cleaning and all that. So I have a lot of stuff that I got to do that if I focus on that for the rest of the day, I'll be able to get all that done, and then tomorrow just get back on it sort of thing, right? So I'm debating right now what I should do, but as of now, yeah, I might possibly have another video out later on today. So because there's a lot of stuff that I do want to talk about. The actor who plays Herschel actually did an interview about Dead City season 2 and said that his character is going to be going a lot more darker in season 2 and seems to have a lot more screen time. So there's a lot of that. I do want to talk about Michonne and her future, and yeah, just a lot of stuff there. But let's actually get into what I wanted to talk about here, and that is Jadis' death. So I guess the question I have for you guys, and you guys can respond in the comment section, do you think Jadis is going to die here in episode 5? Is that where this is going here? Because I will say, episode 5 normally has always sort of been the bigger episode overall. I would say if you look at the last 3 spinoffs, and I'm including I guess the Ones Who Live, so not the last 3, but if you look at the last 2 spinoffs, Dead City episode 5 was the big episode, and Daryl Dixon episode 5 was also the big episode. Stuff still happened in the finale, but it really was the conclusion to everything. So I feel like the way episode 5 is going, this is going to be the big action episode. A lot of the stuff that's supposed to be really shocking or whatever is going to happen in this episode, and then in the finale it's going to be more of the ending to everything here, right? Which I will say, as of now, it does seem like they are going to be going back to the CRM, but we'll talk about that later. So this one shot right here, this is the one that I really, really want to talk about. This was actually in a teaser that was released before The Ones Who Live even aired. And so we have this shot here of Jadis, and I don't know what's to her left right there. It looks like a walker of some kind. I don't know if this is a new type of walker. I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to go into a place where maybe she's turning into a walker, obviously, because she's dying, and she's mutating and becoming a variant walker. Probably not. I mean, it looks like it based off of this. Honestly, if that happened, I would be so excited about that. Honestly, I know some people might not like that, but I would be whoa, I can't believe The Walking Dead's going here, right? And I feel like The Walking Dead could do things like that. I know it's insane, I get it, but The Walking Dead, the one thing that they're really good with doing is telling really amazing character stories and making you really feel grounded in the world. And so I feel like an idea like this, as much as it feels really, I guess, not Walking Dead I think that The Walking Dead would make it feel like it does belong in this world. But I don't think that's what's happening here anyways. To me, it looks like Jadis is maybe getting attacked by walkers, or I'm not entirely sure what's going on. But if you actually look at Jadis, she does look like she's a little sick. I will say that. It looks like she's I don't know if she's about to turn to a walker or whatnot, or what's going on, but it actually looks like she's actually slowly turning to a walker. She has the fever or whatever you get from getting bit by a walker. It just kind of looks like it in this scene, to be honest. And again, that this is from episode 5 because just look at the background. You can tell this is the same sort of setting here that we see Rick and Michonne in. If you look at the teaser for episode 5, you do actually see Rick and Michonne in this shot here. And again, very, very similar setting here. So I'm assuming that, at this point here, there's the standoff that happens between Jadis and Rick and Michonne, and I feel like it's obviously going to result here where they do sort of confront each other. I think Jadis is probably going to die, and I do think she's probably going to get bit by a walker, because I'm thinking in terms of the story, what makes sense, Jadis is probably here to bring them back, and so she's probably trying to bring them back. Will Rick and Michonne go back? No, but what do you do now that Jadis is here? Do you just run away from her? Because she's obviously saw them, right? Because that was sort of the whole thing, the CRM, maybe they would believe that you were gone because the helicopter crashed, but it's also also one of those things where it's kind of, Jadis isn't going to believe that, and that is the only person you have to convince, right? But she's not going to believe that, so you kind of have to get rid of her. But if you get rid of her, like, you know, if she does have that file at the CRM, that's really, really bad, right? So I think that in this scene here, it's going to be a really crazy moment, because again, it is episode 5, so I just think that it makes sense that Jadis is most likely going to die here, and it's probably going to be by a walker bite. You know, maybe it happens and then she's just like, you know, she's happy because now she's like, well, now that this is happening to me, Alexandria is done, this and that, right? And Rick and Michonne are sort of freaking out about the whole entire thing, and that could line up with what Michonne says at the very end of the episode 5 teaser trailer, which is, this isn't going to end with us going home, because now they know Jadis is dead. We have to go back. Like, we have to go back, right? There's some other shots of Jadis as well from other teasers that I did want to sort of combine in this as well, because it's sort of in the same thing. Like, there's some shots of her in her vehicle. So we know that, you know, if you look at the episode 5 teaser trailer, we do see like a vehicle chasing them down. We don't see Jadis. I mean, you sort of, it's easy to sort of see her there, I guess, but if you don't know it's Jadis, it's kind of hard to tell, I guess. But in these shots here, you can tell it's obviously Jadis. So there's going to be this car chase scene that does actually happen here. We see some other shots of Jadis actually sort of looking around for Rick and Michonne in the same setting. So I actually think that this is all related. This stuff here is happening like right before she actually dies, because when you actually look at the teaser trailer, like, this is sort of the thing that I'm thinking anyways, is like, when you look at Rick and Michonne in that scene, they're both sort of like sitting on the ground, but it looks like there's something on the ground like lower than them, because they're sort of like reacting to something, right? So I'm wondering if it is just Jadis, like Jadis is dead, and so Rick and Michonne just want to go check to make sure, sort of thing, and they're talking about, you know, what to do next kind of thing. Like, I wonder if that is what's just happening here, because if Jadis dies, like, they have to go back. Like, it's really that simple, because that stuff about Alexandria's location and all that, you know, Beale will learn of all of that, the CRM will be there immediately, so it's something that they obviously are going to have to deal with right away. And I just think that for episode 5, it honestly makes a lot of sense. At this point here, it does make sense for Jadis to die, I feel like in order to make the season really, really awesome, right? Like, yes, I know some people do want her to live, you know, going into season 2 and all of that, and I could definitely see that. Like, it would be cool to have her around for a little bit longer, but it's also one of those things where I feel like you can just kill her off in the first season, and like in a season 2, focus on Major General Beale. You could introduce other characters as well, and then get into that. You know, Pearl Thorne will obviously sort of be, I'm assuming, a villain in some way, though I feel like maybe not entirely, because obviously she's still going to be on Rick's side, right? Like, she's not going to go against him, though obviously she does have her opinions and stuff of what he's doing and all this stuff with Michonne, right? Like, she doesn't want Michonne or Rick messing up, you know, everything that she's sort of done, right, for herself. So I can see that definitely being an issue here overall, and something that they could explore in season 2, right? But when you're looking at this scene here, it just seems like, I feel like this is really, you know, a hint that Jadis is going to die, because it does seem like this episode is going to have different types of walkers, right? Like, Michonne actually mentions in the teaser trailer that there's actually like a stone walker. This walker here, I mean, is it a walker? It's so hard to tell, and I just feel like, you know, it would be easy to see an overall connection here with all the episode 5s of all 3 shows. Episode 5 of Dead City had the Walker King, right? Really cool walker. Episode 5 of Daryl Dixon had the variant walker, right? So in this episode here, episode 5 of The Ones Who Live, it's not going to be a variant walker, obviously. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't even know what this is, but it's going to be something really interesting. And I think, you know, a walker that I think fans are going to really like, and it could cause the death of Jadis, right? And that would be something that would honestly cause the story to be, that's the thing, because where do you go now, right? Like, if Jadis is here, what are your options? It really is as simple as Jadis allows you to go. She makes a deal with you and is like, all right, you guys can go. And then Rick and Michonne just go back to Alexandria and Jadis goes back. It's not going to be that simple, because things are, you know, like, you have to cause, you know, problems and whatnot in the story. So it won't be that simple. Jadis, I feel like, isn't going to let them go. That would be against just who the character is. And I think a lot of fans would definitely not like that. So she's going to cause a lot of problems here. She's going to, you know, cause a lot of issues for our characters. It's going to be really as simple as you go with Jadis back to the CRM, or Jadis dies, and then at that point you make the decision of, do you just go back to Alexandria and hope that maybe she was lying about the files that she had on Alexandria, or do you just go back and then just get rid of those files? So I do think that's probably what it is. And if you actually look at, you know, what Michonne says, again, she says this isn't going to end with us going home. It makes sense. Like, they were so happy they were going home and all of that, and it seemed like it was actually going to work out, and then this had to happen, right? So now they're forced to go back, because the episode sort of seems like it's going to play out like they're all happy, and, you know, they're at this like camping place or whatever, and, you know, things are good, and sort of like like, you know, Rick's back and everything. Like, it feels amazing. But obviously Jadis is going to show up and cause a lot of problems here. And then I think that it's going to end with, we can't do any of this. We're not going to be able to go back at all. Like, it's something that we're going to have to deal with right now. We're going to have to go back to the CRM. And I think that's why Michonne says that. And I think that, you know, I mentioned it in a previous video, and it seemed like a lot of you guys like that idea. And that is that, you know, it could make sense for Rick and Michonne when they go back, you know, because when they go back, they're going to be questioning them, like, you guys tried to escape this and that. And they could be like, no, this and that happened. And they could really blame it all on Jadis, because Jadis isn't there to defend herself or anything like that. They could really blame her for everything. And maybe that's how they end up back at the CRM, because I'm pretty confident that they will. Again, there's shots where you do see like the CRM. I don't know what base that is, if that's the base that Rick was at before, or if they're going back to the CRM like in Philadelphia. So I'm not entirely sure where they're going back to, but Beale's going to be here. There's some shots of Beale that we haven't seen yet. There's some stuff with Pearl Thorne and Beale that we haven't seen yet. So there's going to be a lot that's going to be coming up here. And I do think that it just makes sense that Jadis's death is going to bring them back to the CRM. And that's why, you know, when I bring up this shot here, it kind of just made sense to me. I was like, this must be one of Jadis's last scenes here. Like, this is probably her final scene. This is probably honestly like happening in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the episode. And Jadis is probably going to die here in this episode. So that's sort of my official prediction right now. You know, it's been a while since I've done a death prediction, but I think that Jadis is going to die here in episode 5 at the very, very end. It's going to be the ending scene to the whole thing here. And I think that it's going to be a really crazy episode. A lot of stuff's going to happen. And there's going to be a whole thing where Rick and Michonne are now like, we need to go back because the CRM are going to find out everything about Alexandria. And now we have to worry about them, right? And then so going into the finale, it's going to be, do they get back? And can they actually save Alexandria? Like, what's going to happen here in the finale, right? And then we'll sort of see the conclusion to that and just where that goes. And honestly, right now, it's sort of hard to say what's going to happen in the finale because we don't have a lot of scenes from the finale. But after watching 5, if it does end in the way that I'm saying, once we get the trailer for episode 6, I think it will make a lot more sense. We'll be able to piece everything together and we'll be like, okay, this is probably how it's going to end. There might be a few things, obviously, in the ending that we're just not seeing, but they are going to be very, very, like, obviously not saying anything or anything, right? Like, they do want to keep it a surprise overall. But yeah, that's what I think anyway. So I'll leave it here. Post your thoughts down below. Do you think Jadis is going to die at the end of episode 5? Or what do you think this scene is here? Like, honestly, try to explain this scene, because it's honestly really hard for me to explain this scene. Like, I feel like she's being surrounded by walkers at this point here, and she knows that she's going to die or something like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe this teaser here was a little too spoilery, but I mean, they released it. So, but anyways, post your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.